Alright, in this video, we're going to look at the groove for Yabba Dabba. Now, this is a funk groove, really similar to a rock groove, but it just depends on the style of music. So this is a funk song, so we're going to make the groove a little bit funkier. So we have 8 quavers on the hi-hat, we have our backbeat on the snare on 2 and 4, and then we have the kick on 1 and 3 with a little extra note just before 3 on the last semiquaver of beat 2. 2E and 3. So, just that simple groove. Let me play that for you. With that groove, we want to really make the snare pop on 2 and 4. Because it's a funk song for this style, you really want to have like some energy behind it, okay? And with the kick, because it's almost like we're playing 2 semiquavers. It's a semiquaver and then a crotchet, but they come really quickly. 1E and a 2E and 3. So just make sure that they're nice and clean, alright? If it helps in your head, you can count those subdivisions. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and up, okay? So nice and clean on the kick. Now, you might have noticed I missed out this little drag that we have on the snare. So it leads right into beat 1 on bar 2. So it's just right before the kick, okay? So I'll play that with this little drag in there. And now it's like a ghost note. You want it to be quite quiet, just really subtle, okay? So I'll play that for you now. So I hope you can hear that it's in there, but it's not loud, it's quite subdued. So you want to show that you have some control there, right? So you need to be pressing the stick into the snare to get that little buzz sound off of it. So here's what that sounds like. I'll play just that and the kick alone, so you can hear how it sounds by itself. Where that falls, it's right after our 8th quaver on the hi-hat. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, moving on. Bar 3, you see that we have an open hi-hat on the first quaver. And then we have a closed hi-hat on the second quaver. So both of those are going to be played with your right hand, okay? But you're going to have to lift your foot up so that it's open, obviously, for the first beat. Now, if you listen to the music, the horns do a stab here. So that's why we play that. So that we're locking in with the horns, just like our kick drum is locking in with the bass player. Trying to make everything nice and tight because it's this funk music. So here's bar 3 and 4, and I'll repeat that a couple times. So that's the main groove to this song. Not too tricky, just remember, try and make it pop, make it like real funky. And then we have the second groove throughout the piece, where it first shows up in the first time ending, and then also the second time ending, and at the very end of the whole piece. This one's a little bit tricky, not too bad, but we'll break it down. So it moves over to the right, we have a lot of semiquavers, and there's a couple of ties in there. So we'll break it down to just beats 1 and 2. We go 1E and A to E and A. You notice because of that tie, the last semiquaver of beat 1 ties over to the first semiquaver of beat 2, which means we don't have to play it. We just let the ride cymbal ring out for that length of time. And then we come in on the 2E on the ride again. I hope that makes sense. And beats 3 and 4 are exactly the same thing. You just repeat that again. So here's what the ride cymbal sounds like on its own. Next, we're going to add in the kick drum. That's really easy. It just falls on 1 and 3 with the right hand. So with the kick drum and the ride pattern. Okay, I'm sure once you get the right pattern, it's not tricky to add in kick. But now we have the left hand. And similar to the bell pattern, it's only really a half bar pattern that we learn for the rhythm, and then it just repeats for the other half of the bar. So we have a side stick on the last semiquaver of beat 1, 1 E and A, and then 2 E and on the tom. And then if we look at beats 3 and 4, it's the same thing. 3 E and A, side stick, 4 E and on the floor tom. So because our right hand is up here on the right, our left hand is free to move around the kit. So here's what the whole thing sounds like, nice and slow. And our final groove at bar 13 on the second page, it's quite a simple one, but it's Fortissimo. So what's going on here in the music? We have a solo, right? The solo is going to be bringing up lots of energy, lots of dynamics, so we want to support that here. So that's why it's loud, okay? Quite a simple pattern here. We've got a quaver and 2 semiquavers, and that just repeats on the right hand. And then on the left hand, we have crotchets on the snare on every beat, and with the kick drum, we land on 1, and then 4 and. Lots of energy and a high dynamic here. Here we go. And that's our 3 grooves that make up the whole piece. Groove 1 and 3 are probably going to be the easiest, but that middle one where we go to the ride and the side stick, that's going to be the trickiest one. So spend a little more time on that one. Slow it down. Make sure your hand's playing the right drums because we go side stick, tom, side stick, floor. So go practice your grooves, and in the next video we're going to look at the fills, dynamics and structure of the whole piece for Yabba Dabba.